All right, I think we are live there. A bit of a mixed setup today. Oh, you're seeing all the things you're not supposed to see. There we go. Uh, Hello. All right, I am not at home, as you can see, so I apologize if the connection is poor today. We are going to be going over all the information from free practice. The usual. I have like 3 computers set up. I have. If I could show you what's going on here right now, it's pretty crazy. I see we already have some chat coming in. Thank you very much. I will answer all questions in due time. But quick mention first of all, if you haven't seen the what's it called? The team selection video. I think you should. I think you should watch the team selection video because a lot of what I'm saying today is sort of summarized there. So I'm gonna send some people there. Hello, Michael. I see you in the chat. It's looking like the connection is good. All right, Martin has already posted some stuff. Hugo, welcome back, Hugo. Thank you so much for last time. Celtic. All right, we're gonna look at all the free practice results. I have the setup here on a Mac. I have a computer behind me. It's pretty nuts. Sanja, hi, welcome to the stream. We're gonna let a few people trickle in before we start with the actual nitty gritty. I'm ahead of schedule. The stream's supposed to start at 2, but because I have basically brought an entire setup with me to my family, I thought I should, go live just to see if it works, and it looks like it's working. I'm not gonna have any chats or any fancy things on screen. I didn't have time to fix that. I'm not on my usual computer, so you'll have to make do with my face and just the beautiful screen here where we're gonna talk about our actual picks. Payball, hello. Andrea says hi from Italy. Hello, hi from Sweden. Tyler says I have a 9-hour drive and you're the opening act of my entertainment. Good to hear. Michael Fearman, how was Midsummer? Flowers in your hair? I did have flowers in my hair. Midsummer was great. Got bitten by a lot of mosquitoes and crashed out at around 8 p.m. So yeah, beautiful stuff. Mercedes for McLaren as constructor. Maybe. We'll see. So I'm gonna be honest, since I've been celebrating midsummer, I've not been able to look at free practice. I've only seen the results of it. But what I've sort of seen is that it's looking like Red Bull are fast again, but we don't know by how much. Ferrari are back to competitive pace. McLaren's up there. Mercedes are not as close. Alpine's looking really good. They're looking like the 5th fastest team. Aston not as great. Is autopilot between Max and Lando a good play? I mean, if you can afford Max and Lando, sure. But I think if you're affording Max and Lando, you're surely sacrificing other things. I don't think autopilot between Max and Lando is a good play because I think their points are going to be very similar. If Max wins and Lando gets second, I mean, their points is going to be within 2-3 of each other. I don't think that's a good use of the autopilot chip. Obviously, one of them's going to crash just because I said this, and it would have been the best play of the year, but you should watch the end of FP3. Should I? What happened? Fill me in. Let's see. I can do this. I can't watch it on your screen, on your screen, but I hope that's okay. Let's see here. I can bring up the end of FP3. No problem. Incidents with Leclerc and Norris. Leclerc bumped into Norris. I did see that there is supposed to be some scrutineering news. I mean, that will definitely make a big difference in our decision making. Yeah, I'll look that up immediately. Thank you, guys. Let's see here. Let's just do there and go to free practice 3. At what minute was it? Stroll bumped into Lewis. Stewards are investigating. Leclerc and Hamilton all at risk of possible penalties for small bumps, and Verstappen for getting in the way of Sainz's flying lap. Usually the usually those kinds of like getting in the way in free practice don't usually get penalized. So I don't think Verstappen is going to get anything for that. I haven't seen the incident. Did Stroll bump Lewis or did Lewis bump Stroll? Because if Stroll's the one who did the bumping, I actually kind of like Stroll then, you know? I don't mind Stroll getting a grid penalty. Leclerc is the one most likely of the three. Seems Merck's in the mud, and I'll just change Ham and Merck to Sainz and Ferrari. I don't hate that. Lewis at fault. Okay, Lewis at fault. With Lewis at fault, that could be good. Both for Mercedes and Lewis owners. Because if you have Lewis Hamilton, I mean, obviously not if you have Lewis Hamilton as your DRS boosted driver. But if you're running two drivers, if you're running like a Leclerc Hamilton or Sainz Hamilton or something similar, like Hamilton has been just the P7, P8 merchant, right? So if he then gets a 3-place grid penalty, Hamilton that is, Hamilton with a 3-place grid penalty could be pretty good from like 11th. Let's see. I'm gonna bring up the incident and look at it live. Let's see here. Spain's Grand Prix. Watch live. What minute of the practice? What's this? Let's see. Can anyone give me that? I don't know if I missed that. Let's see. I'll take some questions in the meantime. Is it worth swapping McLaren for Mercedes with -10? Probably not. I don't personally like using hits. I would avoid that as much as possible. Elio says nice to be back, and then says quick question: current team Mercedes, Ferrari, Hulk, Ocon, Hamilton, Leclerc, and Stroll. Hamilton, Leclerc, and Stroll. You are rich, Elio. Do you recommend me to keep Leclerc or to have Sainz swap Stroll for either Magnussen or Gasly? I mean, what I've seen from FP1 and FP2 data, Alpine look pretty strong. So I don't hate that. If Stroll's getting a penalty, I don't think that's happening. I haven't seen too much of it. So I don't love... I don't think... What do I think about that? Well, I think Gasly and Ocon are going to be good. Especially if they're 5th fastest. And then... Do you recommend to keep Leclerc or to have Sainz? I guess it depends on what the upgrade is, right? Because Leclerc to Sainz... I mean, if Leclerc has a 3-place grid penalty, that could be both good and bad. Sainz or Hamilton? Probably Sainz, from what I've seen. Is Leclerc Piastri or Leclerc Sainz better? It's a tough one. All of these calls are so even. I think probably Leclerc Sainz because Ferrari have looked fast, so I think Sainz is gonna do well. What was your drink of choice for midsummer? Well, for the actual midsummer lunch, we had aquavit. That is a must-have. Schnapps. Sainz or Hamilton? Probably Sainz for right now, Isaac. But if Hamilton gets a 3-place grid penalty, who knows? Does anyone know which minute the incident was between Leclerc and... I could probably look it up myself. Leclerc and whoever it was, Norris? Sainz over all B-tier drivers, maybe. It was in the last lap. Okay. So like a minute. I'm currently watching FP3. I have FP3 up. I'm on a minute 50 on the clock. So last lap. Leclerc's on an out lap. Is it on that sort of run? 40 seconds to go. We're following Leclerc. I have not seen anything yet. I know you guys can't see this, so I apologize if you're just watching me staring off into the sunset. But I should look at this incident. When did it happen? I'm trying to find it. 1:16:09 says Tyler. Thank you. Let's try that. So 14:22 on the clock. I mean, I'm on a Swedish broadcast, so it could be different actually. It was in the post-check flag lap. Oh, okay. Okay, post-checkered flag. Okay, well then the time is different on my stream versus your guys' stream. Is it after the mock start, or is it? Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. We have a replay of Carlos Sainz. I'm skipping like 15 seconds. I hope I don't miss this. Oh, I accidentally moved up to live. That's so annoying. That's so annoying. Road rage in the practice kind of says Leclerc isn't in the right headspace. Maybe not. Ferrari or Mercedes? Probably Ferrari. Thoughts on Max, Ocon, Gasly, Daniel, Albon, Ferrari, McLaren? Looks like a strong team. Though I do prefer Norris to Max. After the mock start, F1 TV, yeah, I have Viaplay because I'm Swedish. So after the mock starts, it keeps skipping. I'm trying to skip 15 seconds ahead, and it keeps moving up to live. It's really annoying. Live being the broadcast has ended. Okay, so I'm at the mock start. I'm watching Verstappen. Oh, okay, and there's the FIA Stewards Turn 7 incident. Okay. So it's before that then. So I've definitely missed it. Is there a strong asset for this race? Well, it depends on if he gets a penalty or not. Like, Leclerc with a penalty could be both good and bad. I'm not saying it's all bad. It could be good, but that depends on where he qualifies. If Leclerc qualifies like P3 and gets moved back to like a P6, that's not that great. Like Leclerc from 6th, how many is he realistically going to pass there? 2 maybe. So maybe that just. How have I missed this? Leclerc turn. I'm just gonna look it up on Twitter. I'm just gonna look it up on Twitter. Leclerc Norris FP3 incident. Okay, I'm watching it on my phone now. Leclerc swearing. Okay, I'm watching it now. Okay. Yeah, I see Leclerc sort of turning into him. Do we think that's going to be a penalty, though? It wasn't that crazy. I actually have no idea. It is just a bump. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think he's getting a penalty for that. That feels very, very harsh if he gets a penalty for that. I mean, there was contact for sure. There was contact. No, it was literally just a small bug. I don't think there's going to be any penalties. I have also not seen the Hamilton incident, but I don't think we're gonna get anything. Maybe just a fine or you know, a reprimand. You know, they get a stern talking to. So what am I planning on to do? Well, before all of the free practice drama, I was already considering. Let's just do the thing, right? I was considering doing this, right? This was my move. I talked about this in my team selection video. It's on my channel. You should go watch it. 120 people already. Welcome, guys. Welcome. We're just 10 minutes into the stream. We're gonna be here. Oh, by the way, I should say this before we actually get going. I'm not doing a watch along today. So I'm just streaming up until the deadline, and then I'm gonna head out to watch the qualifying with my family because I'm not at my usual place. So no quali watch along today, unfortunately. I will do a quali watch along next weekend. I will do 2 watch alongs actually next weekend. I will do probably one for the sprint qualifying and one for the sprint race. So, but yeah, no watch along today, unfortunately. Hugo says, show Rain some love and like and subscribe. We on the road to 1,000. True, Hugo. Like the stream right now. If you haven't liked the stream, we're gonna get into some questions. But like the stream so that more people see it. We get some more people in here. We get some more hype. MS Paint. I'm on a Mac. Does Mac have MS Paint? I'm not on my usual computer, guys. There might not be MS Paint today. I'm disappointing you, but yeah, there might not be MS Paint today. Yes, I am stealing Phoenix's room. Let's see. Ferrari McLaren or Ferrari Merc? I mean, that's close. I saw on Twitter. I might have to just like show this because I couldn't log into Twitter for some reason. There was some 2FA that refused to work with me. But I saw this from FP2. So like FP2 calculations. You know, normally I would bring this up on the screen, but I'm just going to flash it in front of the camera. Because we're doing it manually today. So for the race pace simulations, here you go. Can you see that? Can you see? Can you see that? Oh no, you cannot. There we go. The race pace simulations. I have this, but I can't get it up here because so with this, it's looking like Alpine are pretty fast. Well, it's way too bright. Haas, like. What it's looking like Aston are just in the mud. Both Haas and Alpine has better simulated pace than Aston. If you Google free online MS Paint, there are versions you can use. We cannot go without MS Paint. Fair enough. Fair enough. I've literally never used a Mac in my life. I'm a PC kind of guy. Let's see. Free MS Paint. Like this. This looks good. Alright, here we go. Alright, we have this. Oh, yeah, consent, sure. We have this to do stuff with if we need to. For now, we'll stay on here. We're also waiting for. Oh wait, no, this is Canada. I thought it was post FP3 Spain calculations. Yeah, we only have post FP2 sims. As always, let me know when the FP3 sims comes in. Right now, let's get a budget of 116 million going. So yeah, guys, you can use this website, f1fantasytools.com. You just go to team calculator, you select Spain, and then you input your budgets. If you want to know your budget, you just go to your team, delete everyone, and you can see my budget. My budget is like middling. It's gotten better. I fell behind early on budgets. Right now it's at 116.2, but I've seen people with like 124. So with 116 million, let's recalculate and find what the FP2 predictions say the best team for me is. They're saying Verstappen is fast. Makes sense. They're saying Red Bull, Ferrari. This would imply that Checo keeps it out of the wall. So I'm actually going to just go and click in because I don't think I'm selling Merc. I think I'm sticking with Mercedes. I think my Mercedes transfer is probably next weekend in Austria. Next weekend I probably want the best constructors available. I don't care if they're B tier or A tier. But for Spain, I think I'm sticking with Mercedes even if they're the fourth best choice. Just because Mercedes are a B tier assets and I want the budget. So let's see. Yeah, I'm definitely missing questions. Racing says, I don't know, I'd like Rain to answer. So what did Matthew said? Matthew said, so you should just Mercedes and Norris. I am McLaren and Leclerc currently. I personally am a big advocate for Lando Norris, especially over Max Verstappen. I think Max Verstappen is a great option, but he just does not get the plus 10 for driver of the day. Like, that just doesn't happen to him. So, for that reason, I think Norris is just better, right? Like, Norris is just better than Max Verstappen. Even if Max Verstappen outscores Norris, it's not going to be by much. So, do you all think it's worth to keep Merc this weekend? I think yes, Sanya. I think it's better to keep Merc. If you're on Merc, I wouldn't sell Merc now. Because I still think they're going to get some points. They're probably increasing, maybe 0.3, maybe just 0.1 if they have a bad weekend. But I think they're going to do decently enough that they're going to increase in price more than the A-tier assets. And I don't trust Checo yet, so I'm not going to pick Red Bull. And with McLaren, I mean, I could switch Mercedes to McLaren, but I'd rather switch Leclerc to Norris than switch Mercedes to McLaren as of right now. So let's just calculate this. Let's see. recalculate. And see what it says with Mercedes. So yeah, the best team at my budget, according to F1 Fantasy Tools, according to like data simulation, with Mercedes still in the team, is Ferrari, Mercedes. Norris is my DRS boosted driver. Leclerc as a second one. There, you know, this calculation is heavily favoring the 2B lineup, and then Gasly. They're saying Alpine strong this weekend, and then Show and Sargent just because that's what I need to do to afford. If you guys are sitting on budgets upwards of 118, 120 million, you just have different drivers than Show and Sargent, and you're sitting super pretty. But personally, let's just update this. I think I'm going to just go ahead with this. I'm not gonna do it now, obviously. I'm not crazy, but I think I'm doing this. I really like Ocon and Gasly this weekend. I don't think it's MS Paint by Ocon, but you know. Let's see. What website is this one? The calculator website. This is f1fantasytools.com. I'm not sponsored, but I use their website for everything with this channel. All stats that I get, most of the stats that I get that has to do with fantasy stats. Actually, all fantasy stats come from this website. Some other stats on like pace calculations are obviously not from here, but yeah. So you can just check. Ignore the massive ads. But yeah, you can just check Team Calculator here. Perfect tool to just check what the simulations say you should be running. Then you have optimal teams, race results, asset info, all that good stuff. So that is the website. Wow. Freddy Freeway says, I got Hamilton and Norris. Pick the constructors. Can afford Merc, McLaren, and Ferrari. Got Merc and McLaren now. Could save transfer. I mean, I would definitely save transfer. I would 100% save a transfer if you can. If you have to, like, I don't know, if you're sitting with a Kick Sauber as a constructor, I think you sell. So you can definitely, or I think what am I saying? You should probably save a transfer if you can. If you have to make a transfer, you have to make a transfer. That's just how it is. But if you can save a transfer, I would, because I think having the flexibility to do a lot of changes to your team. I mean, 3 changes to your team is nearly a 50%. It's like a 45% switch. So yeah. I saw you, Phoenix. So yeah. I think saving a transfer is really powerful for Austria because it's a sprint race. You can change like 40% of your team, so that's really strong. For your constructors, you said you had McLaren, Mercedes now. I mean, that works well if you like the McLaren points. I am personally gonna stick with Ferrari, Mercedes. Ferrari looks strong. They're still a B tier asset. They're 22.6 million. So I think they're just gonna be good. Matty, with it being so close, does a penalty to Leclerc make him a worse option if he gets one? Yes. I think if Leclerc gets a penalty, he is worse. If something like, you know, Lance Stroll gets a penalty, that makes him better. If Ocon gets a penalty like last weekend, you know, well, when Ocon got a penalty last weekend, that made him a must-pick option. And I mean, all of you who were here last weekend, or not last weekend, 2 weekends ago, the last deadline stream, right? When we had the buy Ocon, MS Paint stuff, all of that. With Esteban Ocon, I mean, it worked out perfectly. Exactly what I thought would happen happened. He could have had even more points if Alpine didn't screw him over. But yeah, I'm definitely sticking with Ocon. He looks strong. Why this year is harder to get top drivers into your teams? Well, because last year they screwed up with the pricing. So last year you had, like, everyone ran the same team last year in F1 Fantasy, so it wasn't a very interesting season. Everyone started the year with triple Red Bull into triple Aston, and then once McLaren got good, because McLaren were the worst car before them, they were super cheap, so everyone just got triple McLaren instead of triple Aston, so it was literally the same team on everyone. Yep. Yeah, probably. Alright, let's see. Klaus Pedro says, hi, I can only afford for Ferrari Mercedes, Norris, Leclerc, Sargent, Bottas, and Hulk. What do you think about this team? It looks strong. I mean, the calculations agree that running a double lineup like that is very powerful. Norris, Leclerc is probably the best lineup according to the FP2 simulations. With this, what is this? Spain post FP2 Red Bull slower plus 0.15. I have no idea why they have this simulation, but it's okay. What else do we have? Akash says, Niklas says, hey, ham. Akash says, Norris will be on pole or even P1, but Piastri is going to be on the back. Potentially both Mercs would be above Piastri, but still can't trust Merc. So I'm confused whether to change McLaren to Mercedes. I like the switch from McLaren to Mercedes. I like running Mercedes, even if they are a bit weaker. Even like Mercedes 4th best. Let's look at some data, okay? We all love some data. If we check race results, ignore the massive ads, and then scroll down once this is loaded, we can check, like, you know, obviously Mercedes were really, really good last weekend. But even before then, right? Like, look at the points they got. I mean, they both DNF'd in Australia. But even before they got good in Canada, they got 42, 36, 28, 62, 40, 54, 46 points. I mean, that's a great haul of points overall, especially when you look at the averages. So I think Mercedes, even if they are just 4th best clear, you know, P7, P8, I think that's going to be very strong for them. And I think they're going to increase in price, probably by 0.3 million. And personally, I'm fine with that. I don't need to get the most points this weekend. Mercedes, you know, they'll get the 0.03 budget increase like they did last week. Maybe just a 0.1, but you know, they're not going to be bad. So I think Mercedes are just very safe. You get a B tier assets, so you get the price increases for that. Maybe they won't reach the same heights as McLaren, as Red Bull. But I think Mercedes are very, very strong. Let's see, what else do we have? Samarth says Piastri or Hamilton or Sainz. That's a different. I think probably Sainz. Ferrari looked pretty strong. Sainz looked pretty strong. Ed says, should I make any changes? Leclerc, Tsunoda, Hulk, Mag, Ocon, Ferrari, and McLaren. I'm looking to probably switch Leclerc up, but it could be anyone, right? I think your team looks pretty strong. I think your team looks pretty strong, Ed. Hulk, Mag, Ocon. I really like Ocon, Tsunoda, Hulk, Mag. I mean, you have some of the best C-tier assets already. Depends on if you have money in the bank. I don't hate a McLaren downgrade to Mercedes, but at this point I'm just building my own team, so... Hugo says VCarb looked hella slow this week with their upgrades. Yuki could be a nice cheap buy for Austria after 2 weeks of price drops. Could be. I mean, I'm the certified Yuki jinxer. Every time I have Yuki in my team, he underperforms. When I don't have Yuki in my team, he scores 23, 10, and 11 points. But every other week is when I've had him. So I'm sorry to all the Yuki Tsunoda owners. I'm probably not selling this week. Yeah, what was that? Red Bull Racing Slow Sim. Maybe Arthur is not sure what engine mode they were on. We will see. I mean, we can look at the FP3 simulations where they come in. I'm sure Arthur is working on them. Let's see. Calculate like Piastri, but I don't. What recommendations? I think Piastri is just fine, but I wouldn't trust him with the DRS boost. I think Piastri is perfectly fine, maybe even one of the best options in a 2B lineup. Daniel says, can I ask a Euro Fantasy question on here? Deadline is in approximately 30 minutes. Sure. I can take... I took F1 Fantasy questions before, so Daniel, ask Euro Fantasy questions away. I can't promise I can answer them, though. My teams have been pretty shocking so far. You have Cristiano and Kane on the field. Should I stop out Kane for Lukaku and risk losing Kane 6 points? I mean, don't you have someone else? I would probably switch the captaincy to Lukaku or Kane. I've switched my captaincy to Lukaku. But I would not sub out Kane. You can sub out a defender or a midfielder for Kane. You don't have to switch forward for forward. You can switch Kane. You can keep Kane on the field, switch captaincy, and sub someone else out who got less points. All right, that's the Euro Fantasy question out of the way. Kishlin, I have 3 transfers in all my teams. Should I use all 3 this weekend or save 1? I would probably save 1. It depends on what changes you're making, though. So it all depends. Let's see here. Hugo, Piastri seem a bit off, so I reckon Mercedes is Merc is a safer bet for both top 5, top 6 versus McLaren. That is a fair point. I'm personally a big fan of Mercedes this weekend to just stick with it. Maybe next weekend is the weekend where I switch from Mercedes to like a Red Bull or something for Austria. When do we find out about penalties? No idea, Jacob. That can vary. Akash says, is it worth taking a -10 to get Norris with Leclerc already in? Probably not. Also means switching McLaren to Mercedes. I don't mind switching McLaren to Mercedes, but I wouldn't take a -10. I don't think the points difference is going to be that great. Unless, of course, the DNF, but you can't predict that. Payball, hey Rain, I have the same team budget as you, but I have 3 transfers and wildcard. What would you do? It depends on what your budget is. So I assume your budget is not the same. I have a lot of money in the bank, right? So I have Leclerc and 5 or 4.7 million here. So it depends on how much budget you have, but I would probably not wildcard. I would probably stick somewhat close to this team. Just make 2 transfers. Maybe if Stroll is looking bad, the Aston Martin simulations were not looking that strong. Yuki Tsunoda weren't looking that strong. Maybe you can downgrade a Lance Stroll to like a Gasly, since Alpine looked pretty fast, and then you can upgrade Charles Leclerc to Lando. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Sub out Mercedes for Alpine? No, probably not. Allows me to bring in Norris for Ocon. Current team, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Stroll, Hulk, Ocon, Merc, Ferrari budget 114. No, I don't like switching out Merc for Alpine, because I don't think Alpine's getting a driver into Q3. It's possible, but they've only done it once this season. Their upgrades look decent, but I wouldn't trust Alpine right now. I think Mercedes is way better. I think with your team, if you really want Norris in, you get Norris in over Leclerc, or you like sell Stroll for like a Gasly and then upgrade like Ocon to something like that. I don't know. It depends on. I can't think with the budget. Math is hard. Let's see. What else do we have? 165 people in here right now after 30 minutes. That's insane. Everyone who's in here live stream right now, I'm gonna keep going on with your questions here. Payball says same budget. Okay. Yeah, I think you either just upgrade Norris. Well, with 2 transfers. I think with 2 transfers, since I can't speak. You have 3 free transfers, which means that you can easily save 1 transfer for Austria. I wouldn't be overhauling my team completely, but with 2 free transfers, you can look at the post FP3 simulations when they drop in like an hour. And you can, or like 30 minutes, I think they drop. If Arthur is working on them, we don't know. If post FP3 simulations show up, you can use your 2 free transfers to just switch like Yuki or Lance Stroll, since they are looking slow. We'll see. Red Bull Racing looked, oh no, not Red Bull Racing. Racing Bulls looked pretty weak. And then Lance Stroll, both Haas and Alpine looked faster. So maybe that's what you do. Let's see. I got 80 with Musiala as captain. Didn't want to risk losing. No. Don't lose the double points. Stick with 18 on Musiala, Daniel. Calendori says, Rain, ever thought about having a Discord running alongside the stream so we can post pictures of our teams for you to scroll through? Might go faster for you. That is true. It's a really good point, Calendori. I will actually set that up for next weekend. I'm not at home. I'm away. I have a MacBook here with the stream running, so I'll set that up next weekend for sure. For sure. We're doing 2 streams next weekend, by the way, guys. We're doing one on Friday for the sprint qualifying, but that's not the deadline. That's just a sprint quali watch along and thoughts, things like that. And then I'm gonna make a video after that will go live on the channel on Friday evening, and then we're doing a proper deadline stream on the Saturday morning, 10 a.m. So. Since we can definitely do that. That's a good idea, Calendori. Thank you. Matthew W says Sainz or Norris for DRS boost. I would probably go with Norris for DRS boost. I think he's just very likely to get the driver of the day. JP, and I think the reason you have Norris is to DRS boost him. I think if you have Sainz or Norris and you don't DRS boost Norris, you might as well just transfer down Norris to a B tier asset for the budget. JP says, do you think it's best to go into Austria with an extra transfer? 3, yes. I think so, because it's a sprint weekend. I also realized I haven't tweeted out the stream. I am not a good streamer. I am bad at my job. This is not my job, but it's a fun side hustle, you know? Let's see. Additional settings. No. Share. Copy link. 42 likes. Thank you so much, guys. Live with Spain deadline stream on YouTube now. All questions welcome. Go. Go, 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 go. And then Doom, hashtag F1 Fantasy. I'm bad at my job. Fantasy. There we go. Post. Boop. What else do we have? First Cut says hi. Hello. Do you think Lando... Let's see. I missed that. Oh, I've definitely missed a lot of questions. I'm very sorry. Akash said like 30 minutes ago, do you think Lando will make significantly more points as the 2x compared to Leclerc? No, I think it's going to be pretty close, but it is what it is. All right, I'm gonna scroll past a bunch of questions so I can get back up to what's happening live. All right, so I've missed a bunch of questions now, but I wanna get back down. Kesha says best F1 fantasy creator, GOAT. Nice, you love to see it. We have Prenzel, low budget, 108 million. Rough. Sainz plus Stroll or Norris plus Gasly? Ooh, that's pretty good. I think you need to build budget, so probably Sainz. You need to take some risks, Prenzel. I don't think you can afford to go for Norris or Verstappen. You need to build some budget. Martin says Sainz or Piastri. Probably Sainz for this weekend. Isaac says Mag or Tsunoda. The Racing Bulls looked really, really, really slow. We don't know what was wrong there. Maybe the FP3 simulations tell a different story. But for now, I say Magnussen for sure, Isaac. Thank you for being here. Renee says... I have now Leclerc, Piastri, Hulk, Tsunoda, and Ocon with Ferrari and Mercedes with 1 million left in the bank. Think about doing nothing and get 3 transfers next week. I mean, you can do 1 transfer and still have 3 transfers next week, but yeah, I mean, the team looks strong. I don't think you need to make decisions. With, you know, Leclerc and Piastri, with Hulk, Tsunoda, Ocon, I mean, it's a great team. Fantastic team. You could definitely just completely ignore. You don't have to always do changes. So, it looks pretty good. Tyson says, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Hulk, Stroll, Ocon, Ferrari, McLaren. Should I transfer? Probably not. Again, we don't know how good Stroll is. You have a very similar team to mine, but you have McLaren instead of Mercedes. I like Mercedes personally for this week, but it's not a must by any means. You should have an MS Paint thumbnail for letting people know about the stream, maybe. But I don't think that would give views. But thanks for that, Hugo. I can have it in the background, like behind my head, you know? Moved off Yuki because the RB looks awful and just don't trust Sainz. That's fair, Seer. I missed. You going with Norris, Leclerc, Hulk, Gas, Sarge with Mercedes, Ferrari, and just 2x Norris. Pretty sure I'm limitless in Austria, so it's chill. Yeah, Seer, and I'm making an entire limitless video. It's out on Tuesday or Wednesday, so wait for that. We're gonna be discussing the limitless a lot, I think, ahead of Austria. Vident, yeah, moved off Yuki. I mean, the Yuki transfer could be good. If we think Leclerc's going to be good this weekend, and I don't want to sell Leclerc for Norris. I mean, I was thinking about just doing Leclerc to Norris, but if I don't want to do that, if I just want to stick with Leclerc, I could sell Yuki if the Racing Bull looks tragic. Probably Yuki for Gasly then, right? Because Alpine look fast. JP says, rain help, Norris, Sainz, Ocon, Bottas, show, Ferrari, Mercedes. Actually, I'm just going to move this over like here because it's more in line with what I'm looking at. Let's see here. Yeah, something like that. All right. Rain help, Norris, Sainz, Ocon, Bottas, show, Ferrari, Mercedes, stick with this. Norris, Sainz looks strong. Ocon, Bottas, show, Ferrari, Mercedes. I mean, looks a powerful B lineup. I like it. I would probably stick, honestly. It depends. Can you upgrade Bottas or Show to Gasly? Maybe, but that's like the only thing I see that would instantly make it better. You could maybe do, if you have 3 free transfers and you have 3 free transfers, you want to save one for next week, you could downgrade Ocon to Gasly and then upgrade Bottas or Show to one of the Haas boys. That would probably be my move. Because, you know, I don't love the kicks. Probably Show though. I would keep Bottas. Oh my god, the questions are dropping in fast, you guys. Questions are dropping in fast. I'm trying to keep up, but it's difficult. It's difficult. Sierra says, I'm the guy who bought Ocon just because you said so. It worked, so thanks. You're welcome. I mean, everything that I said came through. Literally everything I said came through. Wouldn't be surprised if Leclerc picks up a penalty because of his rage move on Norris. I would be surprised. I don't think he's gonna get one. I'm actually gonna put this on so I can hear stuff. What? That is not mine. Oops. Oh wait, no. Yeah, this. Alright. 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 So how's the sound actually? Is the sound good? I haven't even checked if the sound's good. The sound could be very, very low. I just realized that, but it's fine. What else do we hear? Sarah just got here. What are the main points? The main points is we don't know what's happening. That's the main point. That is the main point. I wouldn't be surprised if Leclerc picks up a... Yeah, I already read that. Sainz or Leclerc? Sainz just look more stable right now. So probably Sainz. Sounds good, all good, all good, sounds great. Thank you guys for the words of affirmation. Again, I have no idea like how this setup is working, but it is. So main point is Arthur will save us. True racing, true. Team Ocon strong. Yeah, I mean I'm sticking. I was considering selling Ocon, but the Alpine looks fast, so I'm probably sticking Ocon. Yeah, there's no way I'm selling Ocon. If I'm selling any C-tier asset this week, it's probably Yuki Tsunoda. Gorka says, hello Rain, your alignment is very good, but I would still use Leclerc, Russell, or Leclerc, Ham for this race. The Mercedes now are very good. Probably. I will be sticking with the single B lineup because of overtakes, and for that reason I'm not going to buy one of the Mercedes drivers. So, but I'm sticking with Mercedes constructor for sure. But yeah, I agree, Gorka, the Mercedes boys are looking decent. Only risk is if Alpine screw over Ocon with team orders. I mean, that happened last weekend. He would have gotten even more points. Thomas says, hi Rain, please help. Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari times 2. I'm assuming that's Leclerc times 2. Piastri, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Bottas. That's a lot of Bottas. Yeah, Tom, I think you have to write out your team again. There's a lot of double. Mike says, hi Rain, how are you? I'm good, thank you. What do you think about Norris times 2, Sainz, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Sargent, Ferrari, McLaren? I mean, that's pretty much like the best team according to the FP2. Oh, I forgot we switched off this. Let's go to team calculator. And let us go down and go with post FP2. 116 is what my budget is at. And let's add, where is it? So let's add Mercedes in there because Mercedes is, you know, what we're running. Because otherwise it just says to run Red Bull, Ferrari, and I don't trust Checo. So looking at this, right? I mean, they're saying Leclerc over Sainz, but if Leclerc is gonna rage and get a penalty, then Sainz and Leclerc is pretty much interchangeable, both budget and points wise. So the team you just said, Ferrari, Mercedes, Norris, Leclerc, Gasly, Show, Sargent, I mean, it looks good. I don't know if I trust Sargent, but that's what I gotta do to afford this. I'm not making this move, though. Is Ocon to Gasly worth it to fit in Norris? I don't hate it. I mean, the Alpine crew, the Alpine pit wall, just prefer Gasly anyway, so I probably prefer Gasly to Ocon right now. Payball says, looks like Alpine is faster than Aston, but could Stroll be better if he does some overtakes? Definitely. For sure. But it's 50-50. Thomas says, sorry, huh? Yep. This is the correct one. Ferrari, Mercedes, Leclerc times 2. Yep. Piastri, Ocon, Hulk, and Bottas. Okay, so Ocon, yeah. Would you change anything? Would you add a 3x? I would not add a 3x. You save your 3x for sprint races. And Ferrari, Mercedes, Leclerc, Piastri, Ocon, Hulk, Bottas. I mean, it looks great. I probably wouldn't change anything. Casper says, hello, currently Leclerc, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Sarge, Ferrari, Mercedes, 118.5 million, 3 transfers, got any device, Norris for Ham and Gasly instead of Tsunoda. Yeah, since you have 3 free transfers, you can do some luxury transfers. I call the C tier moves luxury because it's, never a must. So I don't hate Gasly instead of Tsunoda for this weekend specific. I guess we'll see with the FP3 moves. Norris for Hamilton. Yeah, if you can afford that, yeah. I mean, that looks really, really strong. Norris for Hamilton, Gasly instead of Tsunoda. Looks great, Casper. I like that. Merc over McLaren for the value? Yes. I think McLaren will outscore Mercedes, but it's not going to be by a lot. So, yeah. I think Mercedes are better because of the budget, especially for this weekend. I think in Austria, it's a different story because we're looking at a sprint weekend where points matter. But, yeah. DRS 2x on Leclerc or Norris. I already talked about this briefly, Joe Clark, but with Sainz instead of Leclerc. That I think if you have Norris, I think you have to DRS boost him. Because if you don't DRS boost Norris, then I don't see the value in having him. I think if you have Norris, you have to DRS boost him. Because if you're not DRS boosting Norris, if you're DRS boosting Leclerc, I think you might as well sell Norris to Sainz and gain budget instead. Tiago Diaz says, hi Rain, here in Portugal are some doubts. What about Leclerc times 2, Hulk, Mag, Gasly, Ocon, Ferrari, Mercedes? Looks pretty strong. You have both Gasly and Ocon. Alpine look fast. Magnussen always gets overtakes. I mean, you have probably the best C-tier drivers for this weekend. Leclerc times 2, we'll see what happens with his road rage, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. So, I like your team, Tiago. I like your team. I don't think you should have too many doubts. Sometimes you just gotta stick with the team and roll it. Philip says, Ferrari over Mercedes. Signs in for Hamilton. Have Lando, Gas, Tsunoda. I think Ferrari over Mercedes, yes. Ferrari looks strong this weekend. Signs in for Hamilton. Probably also yes. Eleanor trying to make only 1 transfer this week. What would be your choice of what to aim for in Austria? It depends. But I think for Austria, I personally think a single B-tier lineup is going to be very strong with either Max or Norris as your DRS boosted driver. And then having like a Ferrari plus McLaren or Ferrari plus Red Bull constructor. And then the best C-tier assets. I think that's going to be very strong in Austria. The Limitless could be very strong if the assets that you want perform poorly in sprint qualifying. But we're going to talk about that later this week. I'm going to post an entirely separate Limitless video on Tuesday or Wednesday. Giorgio says, best B-tier asset together with Leclerc. Literally anyone, but probably Sainz for this weekend. But I like Piastri, I like Hamilton, I like Russell. So I don't mind whichever one you want, honestly. Hugo, gotta say it's a headache for fantasy, but having a tight field at the top is dang good entertainment. It is a big headache for fantasy, but like it's fun, right? I could not have run this channel last year with how boring it was for the first half of the season. Literally everyone had the same team. There was no point in making any transfers. This is the best F1 fantasy's ever been. And I feel sorry for those who didn't get into it early this season. But I don't think it's too late. I think you should, if you're watching this and you're not playing F1 Fantasy, I mean, why are you watching? But also, start playing. I know you're going to be behind, but there's going to be, like, new team leagues from after the summer break. So get in now, get some feeling with it, start a new team after the summer break, and then you're ready for next year. Because when the front of the pack and the back markers are so close together, it makes for great fantasy content. Let's see here. Ocon over Yuki for this weekend? I think so. Sawyer says, what are you planning on changing this weekend? I'm going to talk about my team a little bit later, but it's probably Leclerc to Norris or like Yuki to Gasly. I honestly don't know. It's a very, very difficult one. I really, really, really want to save a transfer for Austria. And if I were to do something like this, like I could I could fit things like this. Oh, we haven't even talked about Perez having a penalty, by the way. That's how much we've talked. I could do things like this, but do I want to do something like this? That's 2 transfers. I get Logan Sargent in. I don't know. It's a possibility. I could switch strategy here, but then I only have 2 transfers. I don't have wildcard, no, sir. I used my wildcard earlier this year because I started off the season pretty poorly and I felt like I had to make some drastic changes. Isaac says, that's my team. Hey. I know I wasn't considering this before, but now that I look at it, I like it a lot more. I like it a lot more. I don't have my Canva presentation ready though, so we might have to just do MS Paint for like the comparison. Sprint week in Austria. Gotta save in Austria. Yeah, I'm not using any chip here, for sure not. Using a wildcard for next weekend could work, but I kind of would like to keep the slot, and by the slot I mean like the chip slots available for a final fix if possible. 185 people, guys. That's actually crazy. Make sure to like the stream right now. Subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000. We're at 841 subscribers. We've gained like 20 so far this stream. There's 185 people here, and I guarantee you not all of you are subscribed. Next weekend or next week is gonna be crazy. Probably like 3 videos, 2 streams next week for Austria. It's gonna be great. Do Ferrari reliability concern you? No, not at all, Jacob. Not at all. Only 6 likes? Nah, you need to update it. It's at 50. It's at 50, Isaac. Yeah, run up the likes, guys. Run up the likes. 180 people in here. Thank you so much. There's so many questions coming in. I'm very, very sorry if I don't get to your question. Like, I'm very, very sorry. But the chat is moving fast, and I like spending time with each question. So, yeah. Why do you have such conviction on Ferrari? I mean, this is probably not what I'm running. This is pretty crazy. Because, like, Ferrari, they just look decent, and at 22 million, they're just so good for the value, right? 22.6 million is crazy for Ferrari. Do I really want to run triple Ferrari? Probably not. Also, we haven't even talked about Checo. Checo has a 3-place grid penalty, right? He does that, right? Favorite takeaway food? Ooh, probably Indian. So I don't know if I'm gonna do this. We'll see. It's a possibility, but I do want to save a transfer for next weekend. If I do a move like that now, I'm kind of stuck. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I've decided I cannot talk myself out of it. I'm sticking to a single B strategy for now, for sure. I'll move to a 2B strategy probably after Austria. So something like what I just showed you with the triple Ferrari, that could be my lineup after Austria. I'm not in London though. I'm not in London OA. I'm in Sweden. We have pretty bad Indian food here. But when I'm in London, I always get Indian. Samar says, Mercedes with McLaren or Mercedes with Ferrari? I don't like going without Ferrari as a constructor, so for me it would definitely be the Ferrari variant. I still think Ferrari is near essential, guys. Near essential. Let's see, what else do we have? There's so many questions. I need to take a moment to breathe. Aporov says, Ferrari, McLaren, Hamilton, Alonso, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg. I'm stuck with this team, not sure which drivers were constructed to transfer in the free 2 transfer window because I'm sure VCarb won't perform that well. Yeah, VCarb is an issue for sure. Ferrari, McLaren, I don't have a problem with that. Hamilton, Alonso, I don't love Alonso. I actually think Alonso's pretty bad. Yes, VCarb looked bad, but Aston also looked poor. I would probably transfer. Yeah, VCarb don't look great. Yeah, Porov, you're in a bit of a pickle there. Maybe you sell like Alonso and Ricciardo or Tsunoda. You downgrade Ricciardo to something like a Bottas or maybe even a Sargent just to upgrade Alonso to like Sainz. That's probably what I would do, Aporov. Sorry. If it was anyone else in the B tier, I'd be tempted with the 3-place penalty for overtakes, but I don't trust Perez, and he would have people like Alonso and Piastri in front of him who are good defenders. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we barely. It's crazy that we have a driver with a penalty and we're barely discussing him. Usually that's like when you discuss a driver that you normally wouldn't own. Tyson says, what would you say is the best budget building team? Budget 116 to start with. I mean, we're very close. I'm also at 116. I think something like this is probably the closest you can get. You have a single B-tier driver, you're banking on C-tiers to increasing in price. You have the 2 B-tier constructors that are going to increase in price in Ferrari and Mercedes. You probably stick with that for 2 or 3 more races. Lance Stroll until he hits 15 million. Ocon, Magnussen, whichever DRS boosted B-tier driver is going to perform great. So I honestly think the best like combination of budget and points is something like the team I have. So Jetto says, my team is Norris Hamilton. Nice. Hulk, Bottas, and Tsunoda, and McLaren Merc. I don't know if I should save one transfer or use 2 of them to make Mercedes ones go to Ferrari. And if you would do just one, which of them? So McLaren and Merc. I think you probably do just one of them. Yeah, I would probably just use one transfer, maybe McLaren to Ferrari. I don't hate that. You have Norris already, so you already get most of the points from McLaren, so you're pretty well covered there, I'd say, Jetto. So I would probably do McLaren to Ferrari, build budget for 2 races, and see what happens after that. Signs of Leclerc this weekend, 100%. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm sitting with Leclerc as my DRS boosted driver, and Leclerc with the road rage. I don't know if I trust him over. I mean, especially since Sainz is so close. So I might just do the Leclerc to Norris transfer that I was discussing in my team selection video. It just works out great. Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna move my computer so I don't have to like look behind my mic all the time. Let's see. Move this over here. Move this over here. Just scoot everything. Yeah, I mean, guys, I'm stuck. I have stuff everywhere. This setup is funny. Let's see what else. Yeah, he does have a thing. All right. Oh yeah, I've missed a lot of questions again. Sorry. All right. Calandori again says Rain, Mercedes, Ferrari, Leclerc ×2. Ocon, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Stroll. That's exactly my team. Yep. And considering changing Ocon, Stroll for Piastri, Sargent, worth it changing them to avoid Stroll car damage and getting that McLaren exposure. Does Stroll have car damage? I missed that. I did miss that. Yeah, we have the exact same team, Calandori. So, oh no, you have Hulk, I have Magnussen. Oh, almost same team. I don't like Sargent at all. I think he's gonna keep decreasing in price. But Piastri is really powerful. I don't know anything about the Stroll car damage. I need to look into that. Save the transfer. Yep. Sean Willis says 117.7. Hamilton, Leclerc, Ocon, Hulk, Bottas, Ferrari, Mercedes. 2 transfers. Any changes? Probably not. It looks pretty strong. Leclerc, yeah. I mean, maybe Leclerc to Sainz if Sainz is looking better than Leclerc this weekend, but just do one sideways change, save a transfer. I think, okay, should we get the MS Paint up? I think we should get them MS Paint. I think, overall, there's so many things you could do this weekend. Okay, I know I don't have the real MS Paint, but this is just what I have right now, so we will do this. So, let's go. MS Paint time. That is not... I need to be thicker. Let's see. So, MS Paint time. Let's see. Is it this one? No. How does this work? I've never used this website before. Great ads, guys. Great ads. Which one was I at? Was I on? This is great. Oh well. We'll just do remove this. And I want it to be a lot thicker, but I guess that's fine. What? Oh, here we go. Rain. Fantasy Number 1. Oops. I can't go back. I have to just erase it. That's so annoying. I miss my regular MS Paint that's not on a Mac. Number 1. Tip. Save a transfer. That is my number 1 tip this week. There we go. Perfect. There we go. MS Paint. When does FP3 Sim come out? No idea, Martin. Yep, that is the tip for this week, guys. Save a transfer. There's so many things you could change. Like, realistically, any of the front 4 teams could be strong with a DRS boost. Anyone could ruin your weekend by crashing or having issues. Most C-tier assets could be decent, apart from, like, Shogun Yu, I guess. So... Racing says, my number 1 tip is to buy Ferrari after everyone migrated to McLaren and Mercedes teams. That is very fair. That is very fair. Close. Arthur posted in the Discord he's almost ready with the FP3. Nice, Calandori. We'd love to see it. Oh, I mean, Arthur is a legend. I'm assuming. Why not show? Because he gets lost every race. He's just not had a good season. I just don't like him. He's qualifying last, finishing last. Worth taking a -10 to get into Red Bull, Ferrari, and Verstappen build? No, I don't think so, Dashin. It's definitely not worth the -10. You just take it... If you really want a Ferrari, Red Bull, Verstappen build, you make like 1 transfer now to prepare for it next weekend. You don't do it now. You go some sort of budget building route and just prepare it for the future. You don't take the -10. That is definitely not going to be worth it. Prasanjit says, Leclerc, Norris, Hulk, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ferrari, Mercedes. I can get to this with 2 transfers, or should I wildcard and also get McLaren for Mercedes and some other C tier for Gasly or Tsunoda? Maybe, but I mean, I like that team. That team looks pretty strong. Leclerc and Norris, you have Hulk, Gas, Tsunoda. It looks strong, it looks strong, pros. It looks strong. Why prepare to next weekend? I mean, you don't have to prepare for next weekend. What I mean by this is next weekend there's a sprint weekend, which means you might want to make overhaul, like big changes for next weekend. For now, I think you just sit cool and do whatever you want. But the tip for whoever asked in the chat, it was Dashing Fox. Dashing Fox said, was it worth taking a -10? And I said, if you really want to get a Red Bull, Ferrari, Verstappen build, which I think could be viable, especially if Perez, fixes his driving, I think that build could be really, really strong. But you don't take a -10 to do it now. You instead like do 1 move this week, and then next weekend, since you want it for Austria, you do it then. So you don't necessarily have to prepare for next weekend. I just think that's the way. EDP says, Rain, I just woke up. Do I swap Leclerc and Red Bull for Norris and McLaren? My other constructor is McLaren. You mean Red Bull for Norris and Mercedes? I like that switch. Leclerc and Red Bull for Norris and Mercedes. Looks strong. Oh, Ferrari, you have... Okay. Oh, maybe your other constructor is Mercedes. Your other constructor is Mercedes? Oh, Ferrari's your other constructor. I don't get it. But yeah, I like that move. Looks pretty strong. In under terrible 113.5, what do you think? Says Charlie. And then a bunch of drivers. Ferrari, Mercedes, love that. Norris, love that. Alonso, don't love that. Gasly, Show, Hulkenberg. I think you're trolling with Alonso. I would probably swap Alonso and Show for other drivers. So maybe Ocon and Magnussen. I would probably, but my favorite C tier asset for this week is probably Magnussen, because Magnussen is just like Haas race pace still look really strong. Magnussen is still pretty poor in qualifying. He did great last weekend. So I think Magnussen is probably my favorite C tier asset for this weekend. There's a lot of question marks about Stroll rather. If his car is fine, Yuki, the Racing Bulls have looked awful. Ocon with Alpine, if Alpine are too fast, they can just end up P11 and then he doesn't overtake anyone and gets 0 points. So I think Magnussen is the best C tier asset for this week. If Perez continues his bad streak this week, do you think sprint week without Red Bull? Yeah, 100% Hugo, 100%. 100%. If, we were expecting Red Bull to be back to their best in, what's it called? We were expecting Red Bull to be back to their best in Europe, right? In Spain, in Austria, on these racing tracks, these proper racing tracks. Once they go off the bumpy roads of Monaco and the like. So we are thinking that Red Bull are going to be strong. If Red Bull continue like they did at the start of the season, where Verstappen takes first and Checo takes second, I think Red Bull Constructor will be a must-have again. But right now, that's not looking like the case. And with Checo not performing, but surely he doesn't DNF another race. So I think the Red Bull Constructor is still really, really strong. Everything I've said about the Red Bull Constructor from the start of the season still applies. It's just that Checo needs to just not crash. Even if Checo puts a P8, that's fine. That's good for fantasy managers. He probably gained 5 positions from qualifying in the P12. So, yeah. VSAB101 says, hi, do I really need to change anything from last week? I have Leclerc, Hamilton, Ocon, Bottas, Sargent, McLaren, and Ferrari. I could use one transfer, but who do I replace? Budget maxed out. Your team is very hard to just do with one transfer because there's nothing really you can upgrade. Maybe you sell Ocon for Magnussen, but is that really a move you want to make? Something I would do is probably McLaren to Mercedes and upgrade Sargent because I just don't like Sargent, but that's 2 transfers. So with your team, you're kind of in the same position that I was in earlier this season where, budget maxed out and I had pretty much the best that I wanted on every single position, so I couldn't really upgrade. Would you pick Sainz, Hamilton, or Russell, says Dashing Fox? I would pick Sainz this weekend, personally. Red Bull should be as obvious as a pick as Ferrari, if not for Perez. 100%. It should be even more obvious. Romy says, hello, Romy. Okay. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry if I'm missing your questions. It's okay to post again. Just don't spam the chat. I don't want to ban anyone. The only way to guarantee me answering your questions is super chats, and I don't want to ask for that. But the chat rate is pretty high right now. It's probably up to 10 or something. So I really can't get to every question. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I honestly wish I could, but then I wouldn't be able to go into every question properly. So if you're desperate, super chat is an option. Tommaso says Verstappen, Ocon, Mag, Bottas, Gasly with Ferrari, McLaren, and the recommendation for change. I like Verstappen, but I think you get more bang for your buck with Norris. But then again, you have pretty good options alongside Verstappen anyway, so I don't think you need to do that. I'm assuming you have a much higher budget than I have. But yeah, you have Ferrari and McLaren, not Ferrari and Mercedes. So I could not afford what you just said you had. So the only thing is if you get Norris, you can get Stroll in there. But you really need Stroll this weekend? Probably not. Epithreum's out. Sim is out. Sim is out. It is not a drill. This is not a drill. Alright. Alright, so questions on pause for a second while I look at FP3 post sims and for my own team. So let's just crank that up to 116 immediately. No filters, no additional. If you want to do this for your own team, just go to f1fantasytools.com. The team calculator up here, the red button, you just click that. And then you select Spain post FP3 qualifying, and then Leclerc penalty. So this is if Leclerc gets a penalty, but we're not sure. So we're going to look at that as well. You input your budget. If you want to know your budget, you just go to your team, you remove every asset, and you will see here at the cost cap how much money you have. So, yeah, don't forget this. Number 1 tip, save a transfer. That is my stream things. Whoops. What do we have? 116 Calculate. Oh. What do we get? What do we get? What do we get? You still like bottom server show right? Yes, Figard. Yes. I'm not a fan of show right now. Alright, here we have it. It's pretty much the same as the post FP2. Only that they've changed signs to Leclerc, right? This is not with a Leclerc penalty, by the way. So, the simulations are heavily preferring Sainz over Leclerc. In most cases, actually. And then they're saying Gasly, Hulk, Sargent just to afford it. Could I get to a team like this? I don't think so, right? No. No, I would need to make like 4 transfers. There's no way I can get to this. So, it's not even... this is F1 Fantasy Tools, Mario. F1fantasytools.com. It's the best website for F1 Fantasy. Better than the actual F1 Fantasy website, you know? So it's saying Norris is heavily favored for the DRS boost. I like that. That is what I was planning all week. So I do like that. What's it called? Decision bias? No. What's the word for it? I'm looking for a word. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias. So nice confirmation bias for us Norris supporters. F1 Fantasy Tools updated. Yep, I'm on it, Sarah. I'm on it. Sainz is better, home race, plus 10 possibility. That's true, actually. I didn't even think of that, AA. That's a really good point. Really good point, AA. I was not even considering it was Sainz's home race. Tips on budget building. Limitless next race, so everyone above 25 is out. And that's pretty much it. Just don't have A-tier assets, and you're pretty much fine. I still think you do I still think you do like Ferrari, Mercedes, though, for your constructor. And you don't do other things. Sim says Sainz over Leclerc for 2x boost, but I don't know if I trust him. I mean, I get like Sainz to Leclerc, it feels like a very just, you swap one driver for another. That's a transfer. Transfers are valuable, so there could be other things that you need to fix rather than selling Leclerc for Sainz. I don't think the points is that crazy. Like the difference. There's no way I can get to this, though. I could do... If I'm still have... Let me update this. The closest I can get to a team like that is selling Lance and Yuki, getting Sainz, and then getting Logan. But I don't know if I like this. I still have Kevin, but I'm running triple Ferrari, and I got hurt pretty badly by Ferrari yesterday. And then I would put DRS boost on Sainz. But I don't think I want to do this. I think I'm going to stick with the single B strategy for at least 2 more races. After, for Silverstone, like after Austria, I'm very likely to switch to the 2 lineup. The 2B lineup. 2B being 2 things in the thing. We have 200 people watching right now. That's insane, guys. Don't forget to like the stream, and subscribe. We're at like 850 or so subscribers. We're getting close to the 1,000. We really want to get to 1,000. We're 3 away from 850. We can at least get that. 67 likes, 200 in here right now. At least 100 of you can like the stream. Come on. 100 of you can like the stream. We have another 50 or so minutes before the deadline. Visual still sticking with Mercedes. I'm sticking with Mercedes. Mercedes is not going anywhere for this race. I'm definitely keeping Mercedes for at least 1 more race. I might switch them in Austria if they still look the 4th fastest and don't look to compete with McLaren and Red Bull. Let's see, 2x on Leclerc or Sainz. I mean, the simulations say Sainz, so I think we should trust the simulations. And AE brought up a really good point that it's Sainz's home race. So if Sainz gets P3, even if Norris gets P2, Sainz could get driver of the day. And just because of home race things. Jesus Christ. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, that's my cousin's diabetes alarm. FIA alarm. Yeah, no. It's my cousin needs to go drink a soda or something. Yeah, he's fine. He literally just needs to drink a soda. I'm in his room right now, so this is his shirt collection right there. So that's his shirt collection. I'm sitting at his setup. I brought my stuff, so yeah, he's fine. He has to eat a sandwich or something. People are hyping up Science just because of FP3. Yep, appears so. I mean, the FP3 simulations are saying Science is fast, so. Finn says, what do you think of Leclerc times 2, Russell, Gasly, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Ferrari, Mercedes? I like it. Looks pretty strong. Any 2B lineup is very powerful. I think everyone on my strategy with single B is taking a risk, but it could pay off. Science has been good across all 3 FPs. Yep, he has. Alright, so we have Norris, who seems to be the clear favorite, even over Verstappen. Because I've not, like, said that Verstappen is here. Maybe... what's the point? Yeah. Maybe it's just because they like the... What if I do this? Because I'm probably not selling Stroll, right? So if I add Stroll in here, is he going to say that Verstappen is better? I'm really curious about this, actually, because... It's probably saying Norris because of... okay, now it's saying Sainz Hamilton. I want to find a simulation where it's giving me Verstappen and a bunch of C-tiers. Because all this is saying is that the 2B lineup is better. And I get it. Yeah.
Did my fire alarm go off?
Yep. Fire alarm.
I'll plug it out for you.
I just smashed it, so...
Sorry, chat.
That's funny. I know, I'm spilling all over myself now. What a slob. Alright. Whew. It is... like, it's so hot in here. You don't even know. Yeah, so Sainz looks really strong. I probably can't do anything with that information, right? Like, what do I realistically do? Is there... If I get Sainz in here, like, what does that actually give me? I can't get Piastri here. I can't get Russell. I can't get Hamilton. So, yeah, that's completely useless. That move is... Yeah, that move is actually useless. So, there's no reason for me to do that. And it's saying Norris is better. Stroll. Yeah, I mean... Clicking in Stroll here, look how heavily it favors Sargent with this lineup, just because it desperately wants me to switch to a 2B. Maybe I'm trolling with the single B lineups, but I think I'm cooking. I think I'm cooking with the single Bs. Am I trolling? Hold up. Hold up. Am I trolling? That is a really, really, really good question. Can I add a thing from this? Can I add a... I can't do polls because I only have one screen with the stream where I'm logged in. But if I do... Let's see. If I do this... I don't think so. Let's see. Turn off the new sounds. Filter top. No, I don't think I can do it from here. That's okay. Okay. I'm just gonna ask chat, okay? Am I trolling with a single B? Soera says yes, single B makes no sense. If it was Verstappen, it would make sense. I mean, I think Norris is better than Verstappen for fantasy right now. So, I'm gonna run Lando Norris. Like, this is probably my team. Leclerc penalty wouldn't change much, by the way. True. Planko says, I am a bit late for this party. What strat are we doing this week? We're saving a transfer. We're saving a transfer. Marian says, yes, I'm trolling. Yep. Sawyer says, troll is what makes no sense. I get it. Not worth. You missed my super chat? No, did I really? I'm so sorry. Damn. Hold up. I will fix that. Can I show this? Yeah, I can. Okay. Viewer activity. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, Romy. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was just, Oh, it's probably when the alarm went off. Okay, so Romy, thank you so much for the super chat. By the way, I'm so sorry that I missed it. It's definitely my priority to get the super chats. Leclerc, Tsunoda, Ocon, Gasly, Magnussen, Mercedes, and Ferrari. 3.1 mil, 2 transfers. So you're very similar to what I have. You don't have Stroll, but I mean Stroll is looking like a bad pick at the moment. Tsunoda, Ocon, Gasly, Magnussen. I like Ocon, I like Gasly a lot. Magnussen is my favorite C tier asset currently. Tsunoda, the RBs haven't looked that fast, but I mean, what can you do? Leclerc. With 2 transfers, I would look to save 1 transfer. Either just do Leclerc to Norris, if you can afford that. I think you can afford that. Similar transfer to what I'm doing. Or if you really trust Leclerc and you want to bet on Leclerc, you probably sell Tsunoda for someone. Yeah, I think that's what I would do, Romy. If you want Leclerc, I think you stick with Leclerc, but considering Sainz has looked better, I don't think Leclerc is in the running for driver of the day. I think it's going to be Norris or Sainz, probably. So I would want to have Norris or Sainz with your team, but I would definitely save a transfer so that you can do a larger switch around. If you're sticking with Leclerc, maybe you even downgrade something. Like, maybe you downgrade Tsunoda to even like a Bottas, just to free up funds so that next weekend you can switch to a 2B lineup. Because I think to the 2B lineup is probably the best, right? The simulations just prefer it so badly. And I'm sitting on the single B lineup. I'm probably trolling, but I feel like at this point I have to stick with it. The thing is, I can't. If I am to switch to a 2B lineup, I only have 2 free transfers. I don't have my wild card, so I would be stuck with Leclerc, Sainz, running triple Ferrari, and I don't know if I trust that. Hello, Holy Socks. Welcome to the stream. How much time do we have? Another 40 minutes? Nice. Game plan for this weekend is to roll a transfer. Number 1 tip this weekend is to save a transfer so that you can do larger overhauls in Austria if you want to. Yeah, so the entire I'm gonna explain the single B, okay? The entire reasoning behind the single B is that in Austria, when all of those back markers have more chances for overtakes, I think it's going to be better than the 2B version. I could be wrong, but I think it can be if you get the right C-tier assets. And I think I have the correct C-tier asset. I might not this week if RB is bad, but I don't hate Tsunoda. And Tsunoda can always just turn up. I could always, with three transfers in Austria, switch Yuki to Gasly, switch Yuki to Hulkenberg, whatever I want, if it turns out that the RB is bad. Lance Stroll can be switched to anyone at any point. Boo Bam says FP3 is ready in F1 Classic Seals. Yeah, we know. Thank you, though. We've been looking at it. So, I know Stroll doesn't make any sense, but, like, Stroll is probably staying for now. Stroll is obviously making way if I make moves to a 2B lineup. But I can't get, like, I would love to have this, right? This looks really strong. I have Gasly, Hulk, Sainz, but my C-tier assets are too expensive. I would need to switch way more. So, yeah. Yeah, I saw that, Hugo. I saw that. 2 different ones. Leclerc penalty and the post FP3 one. I'm running the post FP3 because Leclerc has not had a penalty yet, and I don't think it makes that big of a difference. All Custom says I'm on the copium and want Fernando and Carlos podium. I mean, you wouldn't be the only one who wants that. I could run triple B lineup with Merc and Ferrari with my budget. I mean, Jeno, you're the richest man I know, so that is brutal. I mean, you probably do that because that's a massive differential team. No one else is running that. No one else can afford that. You actually have a chance to win the entire game if you switch to that. That's what I would do with your budget. I kind of want to. I'm sticking with the single. Like, yeah. So right now, I don't think it makes sense for me to switch to the 2B. I'm not saying the single B is good. I'm just saying that with 2 free transfers, it's not making sense. Because, like, I can show you what I could do, but if I were to get any B tier driver in here, it would probably be Science, right? It would probably be Science. And the only one I can afford, then with, actually if we, if we get Yuki back in, and Ocon is the most expensive, so if we had Yuki, can we get, no, we can't even afford Show. Like, no matter what I do here, we're probably keeping Ocon, it would be Logan Sargent. I don't think this is much stronger than my other team. Boobam, I think Jetto's budget is like 124 million or something like that. It's actually nuts. Ocon or Gasly? Probably Gasly, just because Alpine, like the team Alpine, don't like Ocon. Was there any penalty for Leclerc? Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, Boobam, I think Jetto is like top 21 in the world. I think it's like top 30 in the world. Sainz and Ocon or Norris and Sargent? Ooh, close one. Probably Sainz Ocon, actually. So I could switch to this, but I don't like this. Like, if I were to switch to a 2B, I would want to run something along the lines of what is in the calculator. Like, I would run a run. Where is he? Like this. Like, this looks good. I wouldn't mind this, but that's 4 transfers. Oh, it's 123 million. Oh, Jetta, I wish I was you. I wish I was you, man. So okay, so if I could switch to this right now, I don't have my wild card. If I could switch to this, I would probably do it. This looks strong. I like this. But, can you explain how Fantasy Team works for F1? I've never seen it. Alright, so quick. We're gonna take some more specific questions, all customs, but for sure. Essentially, you pick 5 drivers, you pick 2 constructors, and you get points based on how they perform. You gain budget after every... how would I explain this in a fast way? You gain budget after every race based on, like, the driver's price. The higher the price, the less they increase in price. Generally, there are different tiers of drivers, but that's a bit extreme. Generally, I would say you pick 2 premium constructors that are gonna get you points, because constructors get points both for their drivers and other stuff. And generally, you don't want a driver that's gonna get P11 in qualifying and then end P11 because they get no points. A person going from P20 to P14 is way better because they increase in position. Positions gained is 5 points, or is 1 point per position gained. So it's essentially just you pick 5 drivers, 2 constructors, and hope that you don't DNF. That's pretty much it. Blake says, Rain, my man, thinking about running both Alpines. What do you think? I like it. I think that's really, really good. But yeah, there's a lot of ins and outs to it, all customs, with how the price categories work and all stuff like that. I have a bunch of guides on my channel, especially the how budget increases work is very important, because when you start the game, you have 100 million, right? So if you haven't played before and you start now, you have 100 million. Right now, I have 116, and I'm like in the middle end of what people have. Jetto, who's in chat right now, has like 123 million because he has picked drivers that have increased in price. So it's very hard to join in the middle of the season because of this, but I don't think it's too bad. I think you just join and play and have fun with it, and then look to lock in for next week. Sun just says Leclerc or Sainz. I think Sainz for sure. Radio says I have 119. Yeah, let's get a value check in chat. How low am I? Radio Paddock has 119. Jetta's 123. He's insane. Georgia's on 113.4, so slightly lower. Uber has 117.7. 117.9, 118. Yeah, see, I'm telling you, a lot of you guys have more than me. Eleanor 122. Oh my god, that went fast. Apro of 118. EPA 120, 119, 115, 116, 160.1, 160.3, 160.7. Oh my god, there's so many people in chat. Oh my god. 123, 114, 109. Yeah, I'm looking like it's looking like I'm slightly on the lower end. I know some people are worse off. Victor 112. I'm sorry, man. Hamsha 112.8. I wish I could poll this in some way to where I could just like easily look at the average. But if someone wants to do that, please be my guest. But I don't know what the average value would be right now in the game. But it's looking like 117. I've seen 117, 116, which is what I'm on. I've seen that on a multiple people, and then we have a couple of outliers who are above 120 million. I hate you. I'm jealous. Good job. So yeah, I think 117. It's looking like 117 is what most people are on, right? That was a lot of messages from us just now. Holy crap. 114, 116, 107. If you're on 107, I'm assuming you started later. Andretti has net worth 140 million, still don't have a team. That's really funny, Planko. That's actually really funny. That's actually so good. Oh no, I just suck. Oh no, Wombat. Yeah, I mean, you need to watch my streams more often. Shameless plug, shameless plug, shameless plug. Uber, keep up the good content. Thank you so much for the donation, man. Thank you so much for the donation. That's so kind. Alright. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so back to what I was talking about. If I could do this exact switch that I just showed in 2 transfers, which I can't. But if I could pick my team right now, any way I wanted it, this would probably be it. This would probably be it. But I can't do that with 2 transfers, so I can't do that. Because of that reason, I'm probably sticking with a single B. Poll. Yeah, Scott, I can't add polls right now because I only have one screen that I'm streaming on and that I'm logged in on, so I actually can't add polls. Again, I'm not at home. This is not my usual setup. Usually it's a bit more professional. I have some infographics and chat is running above me, and we can have, you know, the real MS Paint and not this, you know, crappy website. But yeah, I'm gonna look to upgrade. I've bought a Steam Deck, or a Stream Deck, not Steam Deck, a Stream Deck, so that we can have some cool sounds and stuff. But that's for next weekend. So is there a Leclerc penalty? It doesn't look like it, Joe Clark. I haven't seen anything from. There's this one Twitter account called like FIA Document Bot. Yeah, it's a really good bot. It literally just posts. It's on Twitter. It's FIA Docs Bot, and it just automatically posts whenever FIA posts a document. One or new, summons car 4 instead with car 16. Yeah, they were summoned. The driver and team representative are required to report to the stewards. Incident between car 16 and 4. Yeah, so both Leclerc and Norris were brought to the stewards 1 hour ago, but there's not been anything else. Lewis Hamilton was also brought to the stewards. Lance Stroll was brought to the stewards, but no penalties have come from it yet. So, yep. It's not looking like there's going to be a penalty. Maybe they're probably just going to get a stern talking to. Like, be a bit more careful. I'm surprised no one's picking Albon this week. I feel like he can do well. I mean, we've been hurt by Albon a couple times now, so I don't trust it. I don't trust Albon. Yeah, so back to my team. I'm going to get to a bunch more questions again. Sorry that I can't get to all your questions. Use wildcard this weekend or save. I would probably save Anita, but that completely depends on what your team is. So, I don't know. With my team then, yes, I would love to switch to a 2B, but I'm probably not switching to a 2B until Silverstone. That is going to be my personal deadline. So, for now, I'm sticking with single B. And I think the best single B I can build is just selling Leclerc for Lando, sticking the DRS boost on Lando, which the post FP3 simulations really like. The post FP3 simulations really like Lando as a DRS boost. If I give this an infinite budget, aka Jetto's budget of 123, if this wants to work, 123 budget, recalculate. I think it still prefers Lando. It prefers Sainz, but that's with a triple. This is crazy. I mean, Jetto, let me know if you are affording something, if you're going to something like this, because on your budget, it's saying Sainz, Hamilton, Russell is the best lineup. But yeah, even then, on 121 budget, it's saying Norris, Sainz, Gasly, Hulk show. So this just appears to be the best lineup. It's preferring McLaren then over Mercedes as the upgrade. I don't think I would do that. I think if you're on 120 million, I think you stick with Mercedes here instead of McLaren, and instead of changing, like having McLaren here, I think you go for other driver, like someone else in the show. I think you try and get like an Ocon in here or a Magnussen, and that is your upgrade instead of upgrading the Mercedes to McLaren. But yeah, so Norris is really favored by the 2x budget. Let's actually put this to infinite budget just in case. If it's saying Max Verstappen, then let's just put like 100 and no, let's put even more. Let's just crank it up to 200 million and see what the calculations say. The calculations still say Norris is fastest. Still say Norris is fastest. It's saying Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton, Sainz. It's switching between Red Bull and McLaren. It's keeping Ferrari. This is why I'm keeping Ferrari, guys, by the way. The simulations just prefer Ferrari right now, and I agree. So, yeah. I have Max on the team. Do I switch for Norris? It depends, Yusuf. If you can, like, I would do that switch if you can also upgrade one of your C-tier drivers, probably a Sargent or something like that, to something else, right? So I wouldn't just swap Max to Norris because I think the points between Norris and Verstappen is going to be so even that it's barely worth it. Casper, you find it on f1fantasytools.com. You can play around with it. f1fantasytools.com. So Yusuf, I wouldn't do that switch if you're just doing that switch, but if you're adding like a Sargent upgrade, show upgrade in there, then I think it's worth it. I'm sorry that I'm scratching. I'm so mosquito bitten after Midsummer in Sweden that, yeah. Ugh, Jesus. So I think I've decided I'm just going for Norris. The simulations prefer it. I'm keeping the C-tier assets for now. I'll look again in Austria. Maybe only make 2 transfers in Austria. Get the best C-tier assets in there. Look to get a lot of points from overtakes in the sprint race. And then for Silverstone, look to transfer my team into the best 2B variant. I think that's my, plan overall in the coming weeks. Is F1 Fantasy Tools a free app? Yes, it is, Daniel. It's a free website. You can definitely buy. I think it's on Patreon. Become a Plus member, so you can add your team analyzer. So you need to log in on through Patreon. So most of this is free, but what you can do is that you can become a member on their Patreon, and then you can input your team specifically. And get AI tips for your team or calculation tips on your team specifically, and you don't have to do all of that stuff yourself. So that's really powerful. But I mainly just use the team calculator when the simulations are out, and then the race results, just to have a simple place to just look at data and look how assets are performing over time. So I mainly use these 2 things, right? If it wants to load, I think a lot of people are using it right now. Yeah, I mean this website is so good for F1 Fantasy information, the regular webpage for F1 Fantasy. How can you find to compare Yuki's scores to Daniel Ricciardo? You have to scroll down, find Daniel Ricciardo, click on him, and then see everything. Now you just look here. You just here we go, Sonoda, Ricciardo. Here you can see exactly what happened, the points. You can sort by a bunch of different things. Yeah, this website is amazing. Don't forget my number 1 tip this weekend, guys. Rain Fantasy number 1 tip: save a transfer for the sprint race in Austria. 2x Sainz or Lando, Joe Clark says. I think Lando. I talked about this earlier in the stream. I think if you have Lando, you DRS boost him. Wildcard or use transfers, depends on what your team is, Martin. Wildcard is very team specific. I don't hate if you can better your team with 4 or 5 transfers. I think you use the wild card. If you need 1 hit, you can maybe justify a -10, but normally I would just do that. Jenna says McLaren to Ferrari is my transfer today. Looks great. I love that switch. Thomas says Sainz over Piastri. Yes, Sainz over Piastri for this week. Sainz is probably my favorite B tier driver for this weekend because Sainz has a home race, so he's more likely to get the thing. It's 1 hit. With 1 hit, I would not use my wildcard for 1 hit. I would either look to see, is there any way I can do this without taking the hit? Do I have to make this transfer? Do I really need it? If the answer is yes, I really need to make these 3 transfers or 4 transfers, I think you take the hit. I don't think you use the wildcard to avoid 10 points. But then if you could use the wildcard to make 2 more transfers that would improve your team, maybe it's worth it. I think the wildcard could be used at any point, so you don't need to save the wildcard really. Do we know if Leclerc are getting grid penalty? No, but I don't think so. They were summoned to the stewards an hour ago and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened. Double points to Sainz. I like it. Sainz is probably my favorite B-tier driver this weekend for sure. Yeah, I think I'm sticking with this, guys. I think I'm just going with Lando Norris. I think I'm going with Lando Norris, DRS boost, keeping all the C tiers. I'll reevaluate, have 3 transfers for Austria, and then switch to a proper 2B lineup for Silverstone. Will 3 free transfers become available automatically next week? You can only save 1 transfer. So if you have 2 transfers right now, you use 1. If you have 3 transfers, you can use 2. But you can always bring 1 transfer over, and that gives you 3 free. You get 2 free transfers every week. And you can bring 1 over. That's how it works. Clyde says, listening to you after surgery. Thanks again. I hope the surgery went well. I hope you're fine, Clyde. Thank you for being here. Wax Wombat, Sainz for Leclerc uses my last transfer. I like it. But again, Sainz and Leclerc, it's pretty close. Maybe I just save a transfer. Sorry that I can't get to all your team-specific question, guys. Let's see what we have here. Why not Ferrari McLaren instead of a Mercedes? Because Mercedes are good for budget. Mercedes just look really, really strong. I mean, not stronger than McLaren pace-wise, but being the 4th best car. Let's look at the race results real quick. I talked about this a bit earlier, but even before Canada, so Canada was the first time really this season that Mercedes has been competitive. Yes, we agree. Look at the Mercedes points over the course of the season so far. They are averaging 40 points per weekend. Even with Canada gone, it's still a pretty decent score. If we remove the 2 N's, minus 17 and 74, I think the average is higher, right? So they've gotten decent scores. Japan was pretty bad. Obviously, Australia was bad, but that was a double DNS, so you can't really calculate that. But even if they get like a 40-pointer, that's still a price increase most of the time. I mean, it's a guaranteed points increase unless it's a sprint weekend. So 40 points is still decent. They're gonna increase in price. They're fine. They're not that much worse than McLaren. You get the budget increases. You can afford other assets. I just like Mercedes and Ferrari as a 2 combo for constructor up until one of them hits 25 million or both, or until the sprint race when we might want McLaren because the points difference is going to be bigger. So for this weekend, I stick with Mercedes. Gasly or Tsunoda? Gasly for this weekend, Vegard. Gasly for this weekend. Torbjorn says, will using wildcard give an extra transfer next weekend? No, that's actually the downside of using the wildcard this week. That next weekend you will only have 2 transfers, even if you had 3 transfers for this week. Boobams says, running Leclerc, Sainz, Stroll, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Ferrari, and Mercedes. Am I cooked? No, it looks great, man. It looks great. I would DRS boost Sainz and just pray that Ferrari do well. If Leclerc does get a penalty last second, you think that makes him a better or worse choice? Probably worse, actually, Fraser. Probably worse. But it depends. Like, if he qualifies P8, then it's good. If he qualifies in P3, then no, it's not good. So, best wildcard team for 115.9. You can look that at yourself on the team calculator for F1 Fantasy Tools. But I would imagine it's some combination of Ferrari, Mercedes, Norris, maybe Hamilton. DRS on Sainz or Leclerc? I would say Sainz. No, the calculations and simulations prefer Sainz this weekend, and Sainz does have a home race, so if he finishes P2 or P3, he probably gets driver of the day. Minus 10 to go from minus 10 to go from Ocon Bottas to Gasly Hulk. No. I don't think you ever do a minus 10 to change a C-tier driver. Look at the points these C-tier drivers get. Let's sort by average over here. So, a C-tier driver, drivers below 15 million. Let's take Tsunoda, for example. Tsunoda, who a lot of people are considering the best C-tier assets in the game. Maybe not for this weekend, but he's only been above... I mean, 11 is barely above 10 points, right? To 23 in USA, and that was a sprint race. These C-tier assets, which ones did you say? Let's see if I can find it. I forgot which ones you asked about. Virani, there we go. Minus 10 to go from Ocon, Bottas to Gasly and Hülkenberg. I mean, look at Gasly's points. He's only been above 10 points 3 times, and barely so. Bottas has only been above 10 points. He hasn't been above 10 points at all. So, Hülkenberg, just barely above. I mean, there was last weekend that he was really good, but a 10-pointer is just not worth it. You barely gain anything from it, and you still need things to be good. Isa says, hi, which teams do you think are the best for today? I really like Norris, I really like Mercedes, I really like Ferrari, I really like Carlos Sainz. Those are like my main things. Wax Wombat says, I have all my chips. Use any this week? Probably not. I would probably stick with the chips. Let's see. Alright, we have 20 minutes to the deadline. No Red Bull. I don't trust Checo yet, Isa. I don't trust Checo. Alright, why penalty on Leclerc? I missed something. Did Leclerc get a penalty? I don't think Leclerc got a penalty. Or did he get it now? I don't know how Charles doesn't get a penalty. Yeah, there was a thing at the end of FP3. And they were called to the stewards, but I don't think anything happened. Would you change Ocon to Gasly? If you have a spare transfer, I mean, you obviously save a transfer if you have one, Ilio, but if you have 2 transfers and you're looking to use one, I don't hate that move because, I mean, Alpine hate Ocon, so they just team order Gasly. No penalties yet. Who's winning the Euros? I don't know. Spain looked really good. I want to say France, but they didn't impress me yesterday against Netherlands. So right now I'm saying Spain. They've looked really strong. Albon or Sonoda for C tier? Sonoda. Alright, this 15 minutes roughly to the deadline. I'm gonna quickly go to the bathroom. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. And then we're gonna do all the final questions, all the things, do the final transfer, and actually lock the transfers in. Again, I'm sorry that I can't get to all your questions. We have 220 people right now. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I don't know what our peak was, but it's close to what it was 2 weeks ago, so that's amazing. If you haven't liked the stream yet, do so. What are we at? We just hit 100 likes. We just hit 100 likes. There's 200 people in there, though, so half of you haven't liked the stream. Let's get to 120 likes at least. Come on. 120 likes for the final 15 minutes of the deadline stream. I'm at 853 subscribers. That is not that much, but we can maybe hit 1,000 soon. So if you want to see, I'm doing 2 streams next weekend. One for Friday for the sprint quali, and then one for the deadline for the actual sprint race on Saturday. I'm doing 3 videos, and then Silverstone is after that. We're gonna stream again. So a lot more things coming from this channel, a lot more content. So make sure to subscribe, stick around. I'll be right back. 2 minutes gone, and then we'll do the final 15 minutes. Be right back. Alright, I'm back. I am back. Let's see. Whew, Piastri Hamilton. Quick fire questions here. Piastri. Probably. I think so. Yeah, probably Piastri. New FIA doc, says Hugo. Stroll reprimand for Hamilton bump, but no position penalty. Unlucky for us. Ocon or Stroll, says Anita. I think Ocon. It's looking like Aston's slow this weekend. My team, Leclerc. Leclerc or Sainz to DRS? Probably Sainz. My team this week, Leclerc, Norris, Hulk, Show, Tsunoda, Ferrari, Mercedes. Look pretty strong, Marcus. Looks pretty strong. Alright, what did we get to while I was gone? Did we get to 120? Oh, 126. Thank you so much, guys. That's so nice. 126. What do you have? We have 14 minutes left of the deadline. Minus 10 to get Tsunoda instead of Hulk. No, Isa. That's not worth it. Don't do it. That's a bait. Tsunoda has only gotten above 10 points 3 times so far this season, and one of those was in a sprint race. So don't do minus 10s to change a C-tier driver. Dex Dubia says Ocon or Gasly. Probably Gasly because Alpine hates Ocon. Minus 10 to get additional B-tier signs. See, that's where it gets tricky because I could do a minus 20 to get like the optimal team for this weekend, but I don't think taking 10 points or 20 points hits is going to make that team optimal because I think it's so close between different teams. Payball says I'm going to use my 3 transfers to use wildcard next race. That works fine. You can do that. But then you can't final fix if something happens. Ocon or Magnussen. Love the stream. Thank you, Jeremy. I think Magnussen. Magnussen is my favorite C-tier driver this weekend. Stroll only got a reprimand. Same for Leclerc. I haven't seen anything for Leclerc. My team is Sainz DRS boost. Hulk, Tsunoda, Ricardo, Sargent, Ferrari, Mercedes. What do you think? I have 100 cost cap. For 100 cost cap, that looks pretty good, all customs. That looks pretty good. Yeah, Hulk, Tsunoda, Rick. Maybe... Is Magnussen cheaper than Rick, actually? I would probably do Magnussen over Rick if you can afford that. Magnussen... I actually don't know what the value of Ricardo is right now. No, Ricardo's cheaper. If you could afford Mag, I would do Mag over Ricardo. But that looks pretty good, all customs. That looks pretty good. Any last minute regs for budget building this? The recommendations for budget building. Ferrari Mercedes as the constructor pair is probably my best budget building tip. And then just whichever drivers are good, I guess. Yeah, I did look at the brick wall thing. Oh, Fraser, thank you so much for the super chat. If Leclerc gets penalty, does that make him a pick? Oh, it depends on the penalty. Like, if it's a 10-place grid penalty, then yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's your place in Global League? 11,000, I believe, Micus. So yeah, Fraser, if Leclerc gets a big penalty, then yes. If Leclerc gets a 3-place grid penalty, I don't think that makes him a pick, because, like, that's, what? P3 to P6? I don't think that's good, right? 10 minutes to go, guys. 10 minutes to go. Well, if Leclerc gets a 10-place grid penalty, I'm going to want him for my team, so I don't want to sell him then, but I don't think that's happening. I have the FIA bots thing up, so I don't think... I haven't seen anything, at least. FIA documents bot... Lance Stroll just got a reprimand, so that's nothing. Yeah, I don't. I think they would have announced if Leclerc got a penalty now, so I don't think it's worth it. Ruben says minus 10 Stroll to Russell. Now that might actually be worth it. That might actually be a minus 10 that's worth it. Should I take minus 10 to get Gasly over Bottas? No, don't do a minus 10 for C-tier drivers. I've talked about this. If you look at the race results. What are you getting? Gasly over Bottas. Look at Gasly. He has gotten over 10 points 3 times this season. It is not a guarantee that he will do that. He could just as well not finish the race, and then you're crying. Bottas, I mean, the difference between Bottas and Gasly is not going to be more than 10 points. You know, Bottas can get like a 4-pointer. Gasly's going to get a 7-pointer, and the 10 points made you lose a bunch of points. So, Ruben's minus 10 is the only minus 10 I've seen to almost be worth it. I still don't love it, but I don't hate it. Especially since Aston Martin looks slow this weekend. Ocon or Tsunoda, thanks. For this weekend, I prefer Ocon over Tsunoda, Pedro, because the Racing Bulls look really slow. SKD Garage says, what's the chance of a Sargent DNF sub him out and downgrade a driver, or keep him in for a better driver? I mean, he's probably just going to keep decreasing price. I personally hate Sargent, so I'm biased, but I don't hate Sargent. I hate him as a fantasy option. I mean, yeah, Lance Stroll is definitely dangerous for a potential DNF, but he's only had one. Oh, actually, he's had two. I'm lying. But Lance Stroll's been fine this season. Only one transfer? Yes, I'm only doing one transfer. I think it's going to be Leclerc to Lando Norris. Yeah, we have 9 minutes to go. I need to make my transfer before this website crashes and we all cry. So let's update this one last time. Make sure I'm logged in. I am logged in. And I think my transfer for this week is what I said in my team selection video. It's just Leclerc to Lando Norris. I ideally would like to switch to a 2B lineup with like Lando Sainz. I think Lando Sainz combos look really, really powerful this week. But I can't do that in 2 moves. So I'm looking to stick to a single B lineup. Oh, well, I mean, Lando is an A. So single A, single B lineup for Spain and probably also for Austria. And then in Silverstone, I'm going to do everything in my power to get a 2B lineup going. But for now, we're going to keep catching up budget-wise since I fell so far behind at the start of the season. 8 minutes to go. Don't miss your transfers, guys. I'm going to get to your quick-fire questions in a second. 7 minutes, actually, now. I'm just going to do this now. This will be my team. 2x boost on Lando Norris with Yuki Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, X-Ban, Ocon. Am I expecting much from this team this week? Not really. Not really. I think Yuki is probably going to be bad. I think Lance Stroll is probably going to be bad. But I'm praying Magnussen and Ocon come through with the price boosts and that Lando Norris gets P2 and Driver of the Day. And confirm changes. Boom! It is done. What should we do for fun with my second team, guys? This is literally just for fun. What should we do? I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to add this. And I'm going to add... We'll switch to 2B here. Driver value. This team I started like just to do some experiments with, so we'll do this on this team. Continue. Confirm changes. And then we'll switch to Carlos Sainz here. This is not the team I'm actually like competitive with. I started this team in China, so this is literally just to test some stuff. Confirm changes. Boom. If you just saw that, ignore that. That's not my team. This is my team. We're doing Lando Norris this weekend. Boom. Alright, quick fire questions. All the long team questions where you name all 7 of your picks, I'm going to skip those. I'm just going to do quick fire questions for the last 6 minutes. Don't forget DRS boost. I have not forgotten my DRS boost. It's on. Nice. Thank you so much for the reminder, Daniel. Thank you so much for watching. We have like 180 people, 100 plus likes, probably 50 subscribers. What an amazing stream. There's going to be more to come. 2 streams next week. One for Friday for the sprint qualifying, and then one for the sprint race and the deadline. So don't miss that. Subscribe if you don't want to miss that. There's going to be 3+ videos next week as well. Gasly or Stroll says Dex Dubia. I think Gasly probably. I think Aston Martin looked pretty slow this weekend, so I'm not confident in Stroll. Hamilton, Russell, or Hamilton Sainz. Hamilton Sainz. I would sell Stroll for it. That works fine. I think Hamilton Sainz is better because Sainz as DRS boost look the strongest. Shreyansh Rai says, I have Leclerc and Norris both. Good idea. Looks like a great idea. Norris DRS boost, have Leclerc there. Racing is epic. Help, 2x Norris and roll, or 2x Sainz and Leclerc and no roll. Ooh, that is a tough one. I think with a 2B lineup, there are less things you can do with 3 transfers, so it's less important to roll a transfer for next week since you're already on a 2B lineup. So I think you go for the Norris Sainz. I think you go for Norris, 2x Norris, and don't roll. Have you ever been to an F1 race? I have. I went to Hungary last year. Money no object. Which would you most want to go to? I'm actually probably going to the Australian Grand Prix next year for the premiere of Hamilton in Ferrari. We'll see though. So yeah, probably I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that. Christopher says, what's the plan with 3 transfers for next week? Anything you are certain on yet? No, not really, but I'm certain I'm going to stick with a single B lineup and probably just swap around a bunch of backline markers for the best available. But it's basically just to remain flexible and have a lot of options for next week. If I want to move to a 2B lineup, I can do that. Vladimir, is it worth to chase Piastri for signs or to say the 3rd transfer for the next week? I would change Piastri to signs. I like that switch. Is safer Ferrari or Mercedes? Ferrari, probably. Hamilton, Russell, or Hamilton Sainz. I already said Hamilton Sainz. Celtic says Albon or Show. Probably Albon. I'm at Spielberg next week. That's really cool. I go limitless next week. Don't just pop it instantly, though. Wait for my video on Tuesday or Wednesday. Sainz or Norris 2x. Norris. If you have Norris, you need to 2x him. You don't keep an A-tier driver and don't 2x them. Leclerc reprimand, no penalty, says Hugo. Wow, that was very late for them. 3 minutes before. Imagine if he got a 10-place grid penalty. I would have cried that I sold him. Wax Wombat, drop RB for Alpine and pick up signs for -10. Ooh, probably not. Probably not. I would not do that for a -10. Brick Wall, K-Mag or Lance? K-Mag. K-Mag is my favorite C-tier driver this weekend for sure. Martin says, rank these for this weekend. Sainz, Leclerc, Piastri, Hamilton. I would say it is in exactly that order. Sainz, Leclerc, Piastri, Hamilton. Yuki or Gasly? I think Gasly. The RB does not look very fast right now, ATL. DRS change count as transfer? No, they don't, Planko. No, they don't. Let's see. You can't see it, but it still says, let's do sort of this. I don't think that works. No, never mind. It's fine. Oh yeah, you can see now. It says free. I have one free transfer above me now. So yep. I just made a DRS boost transfer and it didn't change anything. All right, we have 2 minutes to go. Don't miss the deadline. Do not miss the deadline. Any final questions? Good. Yeah. Good luck to everyone. How do I get a 3rd transfer? You save one. My number 1 tip, save a transfer. Only 1 change for me. Yep, I'm saving a transfer. I'm saving a transfer for next week. You can always bring one transfer over to the following week, and you get 2 free transfers every week. As ever, these streams are a vibe. Time flies. I get hyped. Same, Hugo. Same. I mean, I can feel my throat disappearing as I speak. I get more and more loud the further into the stream we go. Signs on Norris 2x. Norris. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Usually, right now, I would be doing a watch-along of the quali, but I am away as per the setup not being what it usually is. So I'm actually going to head off once the deadline has passed. I'm heading back over to my family to watch the qualifying with them. We're all pretty big Formula 1 fans. It runs in the family, so good luck to everyone. No watch-along this time, but there will be a deadline stream and 2 watch-along streams next weekend. Friday for the sprint qualifying, and then Saturday for the sprint race and the actual deadline. So that's at 10 a.m. Don't forget, on next Saturday, it's not in the afternoon, it's 10 a.m. because the deadline is at 12, because that's when the fantasy deadline is. But yeah, we are going to have a video on Monday, probably a video probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then a video on Friday. 2 streams next week. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Like the stream. And as always, I'm going to sign out there. That's the deadline done. My final transfer, Charles Leclerc to Lando Norris. 2x DRS on 2x points. DRS boost on Lando Norris. Yuki Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, Esteban Ocon, Ferrari, and Mercedes. Thank you so much for the stream, guys. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to head out now. I'll see you all next weekend. Thank you for the super chats. I'm sorry again, if you're still here, that I missed yours earlier. Thank you so much. I will end stream now. Goodbye.